When we talk about mental health, most people think of the obvious signs: sleep problems, irritability, loss of interest, or constant fatigue. But the truth is, our emotional state often shows up in the quietest corners of our lives, in behaviors we rarely discuss openly, like masturbation. It might sound odd, but the way you relate to your own body can quietly reveal how you're coping with stress, loneliness, and emotional pain. It's not just about how often you do it, but about when, why, and how you feel afterward. Have you ever caught yourself doing it not out of desire, but out of boredom, anxiety, or a need to escape a heavy feeling? Or maybe you've noticed that sometimes it leaves you more drained than relieved. These are the moments where your body may be trying to manage emotions your mind hasn't fully processed yet. For many people, masturbation can serve as a coping tool, a temporary refuge when life feels too tense. It releases dopamine and oxytocin, the same chemicals that reduce stress and help you feel comforted. It's natural to seek calm that way. But when it becomes the main way you handle discomfort, the go-to solution for sadness, loneliness, or emptiness, it might be a sign that you're soothing rather than healing. During high-stress periods, like the pandemic lockdowns, researchers notice a spike in people using sexual release to manage anxiety and depression, not necessarily out of arousal. This shows how deeply emotional regulation and physical habits can intertwine. Try pausing for a moment before the urge hits and asking yourself, what emotion am I trying to ease right now? That single question can turn a mindless action into a moment of awareness. Sometimes, though, the issue isn't how often you do it, but how out of control it feels. You tell yourself you'll stop, but find the urge returning stronger than before. It's easy to label that as lack of discipline, but in truth, it's often emotional overload. Your nervous system is overwhelmed and looking for a quick reset. Compulsive sexual behavior isn't always about high libido. It's more often a signal that your brain is struggling to manage stress or emotional chaos. If that sounds familiar, try to observe when it happens most. Is it after a fight? When you feel rejected? When you can't fall asleep? Your triggers reveal patterns, and those patterns reveal needs. Sometimes your body is simply saying, I need regulation, not I need release. Then there's guilt, a heavy, quiet feeling that can creep in afterward. For some people, masturbation feels empowering and stress-relieving. For others, it's tangled with shame. That guilt doesn't come from nowhere. It's shaped by cultural, religious, or personal beliefs that frame sexuality as something forbidden or dirty. Psychologists call this moral conflict, when what you do clashes with what you've been taught to believe. This internal struggle can fuel cycles of guilt, secrecy, and self-criticism. But guilt doesn't mean you've done something wrong. It means part of you is still learning how to make peace with your own needs. Instead of asking, was this bad? Try asking, was I acting out of care or avoidance? That question shifts the focus from shame to understanding. Self-compassion begins where judgment ends. Sometimes it's not about guilt or compulsion. It's about numbness. It used to feel good, but now it doesn't. You're not doing it more often, you're just doing it out of habit. No spark, no excitement, just repetition. That loss of pleasure has a name: anhedonia. It's a common symptom of depression or burnout, where even things that once brought joy start feeling hollow. When your emotions shut down, your body keeps repeating familiar behaviors as if it's trying to remind you that you can still feel something. In moments like that, try grounding yourself in physical sensations: warm water, sunlight, touch, music, breath. Numbness doesn't mean you're broken. It means you've been carrying too much for too long, and your system is trying to protect you from overload. And sometimes it's not about doing too much, but not doing it at all. Avoidance can also be a form of disconnection. Some people distance themselves from any sexual expression, not because they don't want it, but because it triggers fear, shame, or discomfort. This avoidance can stem from trauma, negative beliefs about pleasure, or an uneasy relationship with one's own body. Avoiding desire doesn't make you stronger. It often signals emotional blocks that deserve care, not silence. A balanced relationship with yourself isn't about how often you seek pleasure, but about whether you feel safe and whole in doing so. When you take a step back, your masturbation habits connect like a mirror. They reflect how you handle emotion, stress, and connection, whether you use touch to comfort, to escape, or to avoid feeling at all. Every pattern has meaning, but none of them define your worth. Whether you feel guilt, numbness, or relief, your body might be speaking in the only language it knows, attention. So rather than labeling your habits as good or bad, try to listen to what they're trying to tell you. Because sometimes the urge isn't really